The matrix control system, MCS, is an environment where from birth, we as humans are indoctrinated, grow, develop, and experience ourselves in this matrix control system. This matrix is made up of elements like culture, social and political belief systems. Embedded into the framework of this systemic destructive influence and agendas is the programming of large technology, pharmaceutical and economic corporations and think tanks, law enforcement agencies, education systems and universities, health corporations, military departments, legal heads, government and political bodies, upper echelons of societies, the mega wealthy, mainstream media, MSM, television cores in Hollywood, and of course, the many religious doctrines and orders, to name the most obvious. And this is just in this third density life on Earth. Then there is the fourth density realm of negative forces and beyond to consider, which is as equally, if not more important to understand and acknowledge, especially in regard to the matrix control system. The hyperdimensional activity of the negative hostile forces are at work within the matrix control system. Just because we cannot visibly see them does not mean they don't exist. If we are in tune and in alignment with spirit, our intuition and discernment are activated, we have a better ability to protect ourselves to their hidden manipulation and attack. If this is hard to swallow, consider that when we talk about the balance of all things, to balance usually means each part equally operating to be a whole. As above, so below. Light and dark, negative and positive, yin and yang, up and down, off, on, etc. You get the idea. And when it comes to this negative hostile force, when it comes to the NHF existing and at work, we understand that just as there is a visible world, so is there the invisible world. Just because we cannot see it through our human optical lens doesn't mean it is not there operating on another frequency, so to speak, another channel. Like when we tune into the radio and because of our environment, we can only tune into one frequency channel station. This doesn't mean that other frequencies aren't there to tune into. The matrix control system is the sum total of all dimensional manipulation systems, which weakens the spiritually weak and strengthens the spiritually strong. So, to be concise, we are in a deliberately engineered system of order intended to keep us deeply locked into programs of thought that create the illusion of freedom and is geared for ultimate human control. All our thoughts and actions are usually the well-defined responses brought about by the experiences and information we have locked in relation to the matrix. We are all like the free-range animals that we farm, who in truth are not really free, but whom we allow to roam free in their paddocks because it benefits us to do so. If we intended for them to be truly free, then we would remove the fences that keep them confined. But we do not permit this, for they serve a purpose. I have noticed and watched a new TV series called Brave New World, but for many it is not so new. We know this as a book written by Aldous Huxley in 1931, where he presents an image of a future dystopian society that he foresaw would be the path of humanity. This dystopian world looks like an extreme version of what society, fully ingrained and conditioned, genetically engineered and detached from spirit, could look like. Totally immersed in the matrix. Definitely worth a look at, Brave New World. The nature of psychological compulsion is such that those who act under constraint remain under the impression that they are acting on their own initiative. The victim of mind manipulation does not know that he or she is a victim. To he or she, the walls of his prison, her prison, are invisible, and he believes himself, she believes herself to be free. That is not free, is apparent only to other people. His servitude is strictly objective. For those that are open and awakened to seeing beyond what has always been, perceiving this matrix control system will be almost a relief, a confirmation to that something internally that has been presenting and prompting them to see for a long time. For many, when presented with new information and new ideals or new data that directly challenges their existence to date, this will be extremely confronting, and for many people will be rejected as conspiracy nonsense, crazy talk, and will instigate a barrage of negative projective emotions that could look like disbelief, anger, shock, confusion, and fear, as their belief systems are challenged and they cannot accept new information. This uncomfortable state of mind is coined by mainstream psychology as cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance refers to the mental conflict that occurs when a person's behaviors and beliefs do not align. It may also happen when a person holds two beliefs that contradict one another. Cognitive dissonance causes feelings of unease and tension, and people attempt to relieve this discomfort in different ways. Examples include explaining things away or rejecting new information that conflicts with their existing beliefs. Cognitive dissonance can make people feel uneasy and uncomfortable, particularly if the disparity between their beliefs and behaviors involves something that is central to their sense of self. For example, behaving in ways that are not aligned with your personal values may result in intense feelings of discomfort. The information presented may contradict not just the beliefs you have about the world, but also the beliefs that you have about yourself. When this tension occurs, there is often resistance as people believe, for the most part, that they are intelligent, conscious beings, and to be informed that they have been duped, deceived, and living within a control system unawares directly challenges their egoic sense of self, self-respect, and pride, and confronts their sense of freedom. To awaken from the deep sleep, the death sleep that we have been in, requires willingness to accept that things may not be as we believe they were. This requires setting the ego aside, being awake to the possibilities that things are not always as they seem. Does not make you crazy, unstable, or unintelligent, but in fact, the very opposite. Where a human being can finally tear away false ideals and systems of entrapment, piercing the veil of illusion, bringing them into alignment with spirit and higher self. Spirit is the inner voice that speaks of integral truth. Spirit transcends the matrix. And with spirit, you can transcend this matrix, the fourth dimensional negative hostile environment of lower demonic astral entities that are sponsored by the hostile negative alien factions. And you can transcend your ego, the matrix, and have a new lease on life. Namaste, namaskar.